The great chamber of the Galactic Council stretched far beyond what human eyes could see. Ambassador Jiwoo stood in the center, her small figure dwarfed by the massive alien delegates that surrounded her. The air itself seemed heavy with judgment. Above her, the Velkhari High Speaker towered like a living mountain of crystal. Its voice rang out like breaking glass across the chamber. The human species has been found guilty of 17 violations of galactic law. The evidence is clear and undeniable. Jiwoo kept her face calm. She had expected this moment for months. Around the circular chamber, 12 different alien species sat in judgment. The Velkhari controlled the largest section, their crystal bodies reflecting the harsh lights. The snake-like Osaki coiled in their heated viewing boxes. The gas-formed Threnody floated in their containment spheres. All of them stared down at the lone human with cold eyes. "What are these violations?" Jiwoo asked. Her voice carried clearly through the chamber's speakers. The Velkhari speaker's crystal form flashed bright red. Unauthorized expansion into restricted sectors. Refusal to submit colony plans for council approval. Military buildup beyond permitted levels. Most serious of all, you show dangerous unpredictability in your actions. The Osaki delegate rose, his scaled body gleaming under the lights. Humans spread too fast. They take what they want without asking permission. This cannot continue. A Threnody representative's voice echoed from its containment sphere. Their rapid growth threatens galactic stability. They must be controlled before they become unstoppable. Jiwoo looked around the chamber. She saw fear in their alien faces, fear of humanity's potential, fear of what humans might become if left alone. "We have harmed no one. Our colonies are peaceful. Our trade benefits everyone. Your very existence is a threat," the Velkhari speaker replied. "Your species learns too quickly, changes too fast, adapts in ways that cannot be predicted. This makes you dangerous to universal peace." The chamber fell silent. Jiwoo knew this was the moment that would decide humanity's future. She could feel the weight of every human life pressing down on her shoulders. Earth held 8 billion souls. The colonies added another 2 billion. All of them depended on what happened next. "What does the council demand?" she asked. The Velkhari speaker's crystal body pulsed with satisfaction. "Total surrender of all military assets. Immediate withdrawal from all colonies established without council permission. Acceptance of permanent council oversight of human activities. You have 30 solar cycles to comply. And if we refuse, complete annihilation of your species. Every human world will burn. Every human ship will be destroyed. Your entire race will be removed from the galaxy." The words hit Jiwoo like a physical blow. She had known it might come to this, but hearing it spoken aloud made her stomach turn. Around the chamber, alien faces showed no mercy, no compassion. They spoke of genocide as casually as discussing the weather. "I need to consult with my government," Jiwoo said. "You have one standard day to respond," the Velkhari speaker announced. "The council's patience is at an end." Thousands of light years away, Captain Minho stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance. His ship hung in space near the edge of human territory, monitoring long-range communications. The holographic display showed Ambassador Jiwoo's transmission from the Galactic Council. The bridge crew watched in stunned silence as their ambassador was humiliated by the alien delegates. When the recording ended, the silence stretched for long moments. "Sir?" asked communications specialist Yoonji. Her young face showed the shock they all felt. Minho's jaw tightened as he stared at the display. "Send this transmission to Earth immediately. Top priority. Then contact all fleet commanders. I want a full readiness report within the hour." Engineer Soo-young looked up from her station. "Captain, they outnumber us 50 to 1. Their technology is centuries ahead of ours. How can we possibly fight them?" "I don't know yet," Minho replied. "But I know one thing. Humans don't surrender. We never have. We never will." Tactical Officer Hyunwoo pulled up displays showing the positions of the alien fleets. The Velkhari have 300 ships in this sector alone. The Osaki have moved battle groups to our trade routes. They're already positioning for an attack. Minho nodded grimly. "They expect us to roll over like frightened animals. They're about to learn how wrong they are." On Earth, President Seojin sat in the emergency session chamber deep beneath Seoul. The most powerful humans in the galaxy surrounded the oval table. Generals, scientists, diplomats, and business leaders all waited for his decision. "The situation is clear," Seojin said. His voice was steady despite the weight of the moment. "We can surrender and watch our species slowly die under alien rule. Or we can fight and probably die quickly in a war we cannot win. General Teju slammed his fist on the table. We have to fight. Surrender means the end of human freedom forever. At least if we fight, we die as humans. Dr. Yuna, head of the Terror Research Institute, spoke quietly. There might be a third option. Our technology may be behind theirs, but we think differently. We adapt faster. If we can't match their firepower, maybe we can outsmart them. You're talking about miracles, said Finance Minister Wanho. The economic cost of a war would destroy us even if we somehow won. The cost of surrender is our souls, replied Seojin. What good is economic stability if we're not free to use it? The debate continued for hours. Arguments flew back and forth across the table. Some pushed for immediate military action. Others begged for negotiation. A few suggested hiding in the outer systems until the aliens forgot about them. Finally, Seojin raised his hand for silence. I've heard all your arguments. Now I'll make the decision. Dr. Yuna, how long would you need to develop new weapons and defenses? At least 3 years. Maybe more. We'd need resources from every human world, every scientist, every engineer, and even then success isn't guaranteed. Seojin nodded slowly. General Teju, can our forces hold out long enough to give the scientists time? Not in a straight fight, but if we avoid major battles, hit and run, make them chase us through known space while we prepare. The general paused. It's possible, barely. Then that's what we'll do. Seojin's voice carried the weight of final judgment. We'll fake our defeat while we prepare for real war. Operation Ghost Protocol is approved. The room erupted in shocked voices. Fake defeat meant sacrificing colonies, letting human worlds burn, watching their people die while they prepared for a war that might never come. It's the only way, Seojin said firmly. We make them think they've won while we transform ourselves into something they've never faced before, something they can't predict or control. He stood and looked around the table at the most powerful humans alive. Send the message to every human world, every ship, every colony. Tell them the truth. We're going to disappear for a while. When we come back, the galaxy will never be the same. Ambassador Jiwoo received her instructions 12 hours later. She walked back into the Galactic Council chamber with steady steps. The alien delegates waited with obvious satisfaction, certain of humanity's surrender. The human government has considered your ultimatum, Jiwoo announced. Her voice carried clearly through the vast chamber. The Velkari speaker leaned forward. And your answer? Jiwoo looked up at the towering aliens surrounding her. Fear and contempt radiated from their alien faces. They saw humans as nothing more than annoying pests to be controlled or eliminated. Our answer is simple, she said calmly. We will not kneel. The chamber exploded in angry alien voices. The Velkari speaker's crystal body flashed brilliant red. Then you have chosen extinction. Your species will burn for its arrogance. Jiwoo smiled coldly. Perhaps. Or perhaps you have no idea what you've just awakened. She turned and walked out of the chamber, leaving the aliens to their rage. Behind her, the delegates began planning humanity's destruction. They had no idea they had just made the worst mistake in galactic history. The war for humanity's survival was about to begin. The attack came without warning. Captain Minho was reviewing supply reports when the emergency alarm screamed across the UES Defiance. Red lights bathed the bridge as his crew scrambled to their stations. Contact bearing 007, shouted Tactical Officer Hyunwoo. Multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace. Velkari configuration, how many? Minho demanded, rushing to his command chair. 50, 70? Sir, there are over 100 enemy vessels. They're surrounding the system. Through the main display, Minho watched as the alien fleet spread out like a deadly net. The crystalline Velkari ships gleamed under the system's twin suns. Beside them hung the sleek black forms of Osaki cruisers and the strange geometric shapes of Threnody battle platforms. Sir, we're receiving a transmission, reported communications specialist Yoonji. The main screen flickered. A Velkari commander appeared, its crystal body pulsing with cold light. When it spoke, its voice sounded like ice breaking. Human vessel, you will surrender immediately. Resistance will result in your destruction. Minho stood slowly. His small flotilla of 12 ships faced impossible odds. This is Captain Minho of the Human Defense Force. You are in violation of our territorial space. The Velkari commander's laugh sounded like wind through broken glass. Your territory no longer exists, human. Your species chose extinction. We are here to deliver it. The transmission ended. On the tactical display, the alien ships began moving into attack formation. "Sir, incoming message from New Busan colony," Yunji called out. Her face had gone pale. "They're under attack. The planetary defense grid is failing." Minho's blood turned to ice. New Busan held 2 million colonists. Farmers, miners, teachers, children, all of them helpless against what was coming. "Set course for New Busan, maximum speed," he ordered. Engineer Su-young looked up from her station. "Sir, we'll never reach them in time. The alien fleet will intercept us. Then we'll fight our way through." The next 3 hours became a nightmare of running battles through hyperspace. Minho's small fleet dodged and weaved between the massive alien ships, using their superior speed to avoid direct confrontation. But they could only run for so long. When they finally reached New Busan, the colony was already burning. The planet's surface glowed with fires that could be seen from orbit. Entire cities had been reduced to smoking craters. The orbital stations hung in pieces, their metal shells twisted into unrecognizable shapes. "Scanning for survivors," Su-young reported. Her voice shook with barely controlled emotion. "Life signs detected in the northern continent. Approximately 50,000 people in underground shelters." "Take us down," Minho ordered. "We save who we can." The rescue operation took 18 desperate hours. Human shuttles flew through smoke and radiation to pull survivors from the ruins of their homes. Minho watched families clutch their few possessions as they stumbled aboard his ships. Children cried for parents who would never answer. Old people stared at the destruction with empty eyes. The worst part was the silence from the other colonies. One by one, their signals went dark. Kepler's Edge mining station simply vanished in a flash of antimatter. The research base at Wolf 359 sent a final message before their transmissions cut off forever. "They're not just conquering us," Su-young said as she studied the wreckage of a Velkari cruiser that had crashed on New Busan's surface. "They're destroying everything. Every building, every piece of technology, every trace that humans were ever here." She pulled a strange device from the wreckage. It looked like a metal sphere covered in alien writing. When she activated her scanner, the readings made her heart stop. "Captain, you need to see this." Minho joined her beside the crashed alien ship. "What is it?" "This device. It's designed to crack planets, to literally break worlds apart from the inside." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "They're not planning to occupy our colonies. They're going to destroy them completely." The full horror of the situation hit them both. This wasn't conquest. This was extermination on a scale beyond imagination. The aliens intended to wipe every trace of humanity from the galaxy. Light years away on Earth, President Seojin stared at the reports flooding in from across human space. Each message brought worse news. Colony after colony went silent. Refugee ships limped back to human space with tales of complete destruction. "The casualties are in the millions," reported General Taeju. His usually stern face showed deep grief. "At this rate, we'll lose half our population within a month." Dr. Yuna entered the emergency command center carrying a data pad. "I've analyzed the attack patterns. This isn't random violence. They have a specific plan. They're targeting our industrial bases first, then our research facilities, then our population centers. They're crippling our ability to fight back," Seojin realized. "Destroying our weapons factories before moving on to civilian targets." "It's worse than that," Dr. Yuna replied. "I've intercepted some of their communications. They're not planning to leave any humans alive. Not as slaves, not as prisoners, not even as samples. Complete extinction is their goal." The weight of leadership pressed down on Seojin's shoulders like a mountain. 10 billion human lives depended on decisions he would make in the next few hours. "How long before they reach Earth?" he asked. General Taeju consulted his displays. "At their current rate of advance, 6 months. Maybe less if they split their forces." "And the Prometheus project?" Dr. Yuna shook her head. "The research is promising, but we need at least 2 years to develop practical weapons. Maybe 3 years to mass produce them. We don't have 3 years. We barely have 3 months." Seojin stood and walked to the great display showing the positions of human and alien forces across the galaxy. Red markers showed where human colonies had already fallen. Blue markers showed the remaining human worlds. There were far too many red markers and far too few blue ones. "We need to buy time," he said finally, "but not through direct military action. We'll lose every straight fight. What do you suggest?" asked General Taeju. "We make them think they're winning. We stage defeats that look real but preserve our actual strength. We evacuate our people to hidden locations while making it appear that we're being destroyed. Dr. Yuna's eyes widened. You're talking about faking the extinction of our entire species. That's exactly what I'm talking about. We let them think they've won while we prepare for the real war. The plan that emerged over the next 12 hours was bold beyond imagination. Human forces would conduct fighting retreats that looked like genuine defeats. Colonies would be evacuated through secret routes to hidden bases in uncharted space. The aliens would find empty worlds and assume the populations had been wiped out. Meanwhile, in the deepest secret, humanity would transform itself. Dr. Yuna's research teams would develop weapons and technologies the aliens had never encountered. Hidden shipyards would build new types of vessels designed for a completely different kind of warfare. Captain Minho received his new orders while evacuating the last survivors from New Busan. His mission was to make his fleet's destruction look convincing, while actually escaping to join the hidden forces. Engineering. Can you create false sensor readings? He asked. Su Young smiled grimly. I can make us look like we're exploding while we're actually jumping to hyperspace. The aliens will think we're dead. Communications prepare a final transmission. Make it sound desperate and defeated, Yunji nodded. What should the message say? Tell them humanity fought bravely but couldn't overcome superior forces. Make them think we're giving up. The fake battle began an hour later. Minho's ships appeared to engage the alien fleet in a desperate last stand. Explosions bloomed across space as the humans seemed to throw everything they had at the enemy. One by one, the human ships appeared to die in brilliant flashes of light. The Valkyrie commander watched with satisfaction as the last human vessel seemed to explode. Target destroyed. This sector is clear of human forces. But in hyperspace, Minho's fleet raced toward their new base in the void. Behind them, the aliens celebrated a victory that was really humanity's first step toward survival. Phase 1 complete, Minho reported to Earth. We are officially dead. President Seojun received the message in his deep bunker. Around the galaxy, similar reports came in from human commanders who had successfully faked their destruction. The Great Deception had begun. How many people have we saved? He asked. 4 billion evacuated to the hidden bases, reported General Teju. Another 2 billion still in transit. We're losing colonies, but we're saving lives. And the aliens? They think they're winning. Their propaganda broadcasts are celebrating the defeat of humanity. Seojun nodded slowly. Let them celebrate. Let them think humanity was finished. While they congratulated themselves on their easy victory, 10 billion humans would prepare for war in the darkness between the stars. The real battle was just beginning. 3 years had passed since humanity officially died. The galaxy celebrated the end of the human threat. Valkyrie propaganda broadcasts showed empty human worlds covered in dust and debris. The abandoned colonies served as tourist destinations for alien species who wanted to see what happened to those who defied the Galactic Council. Captain Minho floated in the command center of Haven Base, deep in the asteroid field of the Phantom Sector. The hidden facility housed 50,000 humans in a complex of tunnels carved from solid rock. Outside, the asteroids looked natural. Inside, they contained one of humanity's most advanced research centers. Status report, Minho said to his senior staff. Engineer Su Young pulled up holographic displays showing construction progress across dozens of hidden bases. Shipyard 7 has completed another batch of Ghost-class vessels. The new quantum drives are performing beyond expectations. Our ships can phase between normal space and hyperspace at will. Weapon systems? Tactical Officer Hyunwoo smiled coldly. Dr. Yuna's neural storm devices are ready for field testing. We can turn an enemy's own thoughts into weapons against them. Their psychology becomes their weakness. Communications specialist Yoonji added her report. Intelligence gathering is proceeding well. We have monitoring stations throughout alien space. They have no idea we're watching their every move. Minho nodded with satisfaction. The Long Dark was working better than anyone had dared hope. While the galaxy thought humanity was extinct, 10 billion humans had disappeared into the void between stars. Hidden bases in rogue planets, asteroid fields, and nebulae sheltered the survivors. But this wasn't just survival. It was transformation. On Refuge Alpha, a mobile city built inside a hollowed-out asteroid, children learned advanced physics alongside basic reading. Every human citizen had become part of the war effort. Farmers grew food in underground gardens while studying weapons design. Teachers educated students while developing new combat strategies. The old distinctions between military and civilian had vanished. Every person contributed to humanity's rebirth. Grandmothers programmed targeting computers. Children helped design stealth technology. Everyone understood that their species' survival depended on total dedication to the cause. Dr. Yuna worked in her laboratory deep within Sanctuary Station. The hidden base orbited a brown dwarf star in uncharted space. Here, humanity's greatest minds pushed the boundaries of science beyond what the aliens thought possible. The neural storm weapons exceed all projections, she told her research team. When we tested them on captured alien equipment, the psychological feedback loops were devastating. Enemy crews would experience their own deepest fears made real. Her assistant, Dr. Jinho, pulled up test data. The Velkari are especially vulnerable. Their crystal-based consciousness creates feedback loops that amplify the effect. A single neural storm burst could disable an entire Velkari fleet. And the quantum ghost drives? Even better than we hoped. Ships equipped with the drives can become partially non-existent. Enemy weapons pass right through them. We can attack from dimensions the aliens don't even know exist. But Dr. Yuna's greatest achievement remained classified even from most of humanity. Project Lazarus sat in a sealed laboratory, guarded by security measures that would make alien intelligence services weep with envy. "How is the final project progressing?" asked President Seojin during his monthly inspection. Dr. Yuna led him through multiple security checkpoints to a chamber that hummed with barely contained energy. Project Lazarus will give us the ability to turn any piece of technology in the galaxy into our weapon. Every alien ship, every defense system, every communication network will become ours to control. The risks? Enormous. If we activate it too early, the aliens might develop countermeasures. If we wait too long, they might discover our hidden bases. The timing must be perfect. Seojin studied the device that would decide humanity's fate. It looked deceptively simple, just a sphere of strange metal covered in quantum field generators. But this device could rewrite the rules of galactic warfare. Meanwhile, the aliens grew complacent. Velkari High Command had distributed former human territories among loyal species. The Osaki controlled the former agricultural worlds. The Threnodi had claimed the mining systems. Everyone profited from humanity's supposed extinction. Velkari Commander Nexus supervised the demolition of the last human monuments on former Earth colonies. "Erase every trace," he ordered his subordinates. "Future generations must never know humans existed." His crystal body pulsed with satisfaction as human cities were reduced to atoms. The dangerous, unpredictable species was gone forever. The galaxy was safe from their chaotic influence. But strange reports began filtering through alien intelligence networks. Ships appeared on long-range sensors before vanishing without explanation. Deep space monitoring stations detected energy signatures that matched no known technology. Patrol fleets reported brief contacts with vessels that seemed to exist only partially. The Osaki attributed these incidents to equipment malfunctions. Their scientists insisted that their sensors needed recalibration. The Threnodi blamed solar interference for the false readings. The Velkari dismissed everything as impossible, because humans were extinct. None of them noticed that their own technology was being studied, mapped, and quietly subverted. Engineer Su Yung led a team of specialists aboard a cloaked human vessel as it drifted near a major Velkari shipyard. "Passive scans only," she whispered to her crew. "We need to understand their construction techniques without being detected." The alien shipyard sprawled across several asteroids, its crystal architecture gleaming in the light of nearby stars. Velkari workers shaped hulls with focused energy beams while automated. Systems installed weapons and shields. Their quantum resonance frequency is completely different from ours, reported her second in command, Engineer Daehyun. But I think I can adapt our neural storm devices to match their technology. Do it. When the time comes, we want to turn their own ships against them. Across the galaxy, similar operations proceeded in secret. Human intelligence teams studied every aspect of alien technology and psychology. They learned the Velkari fear of chaotic thought patterns. They discovered the Osaki weakness for hierarchical command structures. They mapped the Threnodi dependence on collective consciousness. Every weakness would become a weapon. Every strength would become a target. The hidden shipyards worked around the clock to build humanity's new fleet. These weren't the clumsy vessels that had fled the early battles. The new ships existed partly outside normal space-time, powered by quantum drives that bent reality itself. Captain Minho inspected the first completed Ghost-class battleship. In the secret yards of Phantom Base, the vessel looked nothing like traditional human designs. Its hull seemed to ripple and shift, never quite solid, never quite there. "She's beautiful," he said to Su-Yung. "She's more than that. This ship can phase through enemy fire, strike from impossible angles, and disappear before the enemy knows what hit them. We've built 300 so far. How many more do we need for the plan to work? At least 1,000, maybe more. We need to hit every major alien facility simultaneously." The long dark was ending. 3 years of preparation were nearly complete. Humanity had transformed from a species running for survival into something the galaxy had never seen. They had become the hunters, and their former predators didn't even know they were being watched. In his command center, President Seojin reviewed the final preparations. Hidden bases throughout the galaxy were ready to reveal themselves. The Ghost Fleet waited in the darkness between stars. 10 billion humans prepared for the moment when they would announce their return. But first, they needed the perfect trigger. Something that would justify the fury they were about to unleash. The trigger came when Velkari High Command made their final mistake. Intelligence reports reached Seojun that the aliens had developed a new weapon. A stellar converter designed to destroy Earth's sun and turn humanity's birthworld into cosmic dust. "They want to erase our homeworld," Seojun said to his council. "Even though they think we're extinct, they still fear the symbol of human resistance." General Taiju leaned forward. "Sir, this gives us the justification we need. When they try to destroy Earth, we can reveal ourselves and claim self-defense. More than that," added Dr. Yuna, "I can sabotage their stellar converter, turn their own weapon into the signal that activates Project Lazarus. When they try to destroy our sun, every piece of alien technology in the galaxy will become ours." Seojun stood and looked out at the stars through the command center's viewports. Somewhere out there, alien species celebrated the peace they had bought with human blood. They had no idea that their victims had spent 3 years becoming their worst nightmare. "Send the signal to all bases," he ordered. "The long dark is ending. Humanity is about to rise from the grave." Across the galaxy, human commanders received the message they had waited 3 years to hear. Ghost fleets powered up their quantum drives. Hidden bases prepared to reveal their weapons. Dr. Yuna activated the final sequences of Project Lazarus. The aliens who had tried to extinct humanity were about to learn that humans were very good at holding grudges, and even better at getting revenge. The first sign that something was wrong came from the edge of Velkari space. Deep space monitoring stations detected strange energy readings that appeared for seconds before vanishing. The readings matched no known alien technology. Commander Nexus studied the reports in his crystal chamber aboard the flagship Eternal Dominion. His subordinates waited nervously as he processed the data through his crystalline consciousness. "Equipment failure," he announced finally. "These readings are impossible. Humans are extinct. There are no unknown species in this sector." But the readings continued. Ships appeared on long-range sensors before disappearing completely. Patrol vessels reported brief contacts with vessels that seemed to exist only partially. The Osaki blamed solar flares. The Threnodi suggested instrument malfunction. The Velkari insisted it was all impossible. Then the Hegemony's expeditionary fleet at Proxima Station simply vanished. 200 ships had been stationed at the remote outpost. The fleet included 3 Velkari dreadnoughts, 50 Osaki cruisers, and over 100 support vessels. They had been patrolling the former human territories, ensuring that no trace of the extinct species remained. When the next supply convoy arrived at Proxima Station, they found empty space where the fleet should have been. "Scanning for debris," reported the convoy's sensor operator, a nervous Osaki named Coordinator Zess. "No wreckage detected. No energy signatures. No trace that ships were ever here." The convoy commander, Velkari Sub-Leader Vex, felt confusion ripple through his crystal matrix. "Check the station itself." Proxima Station hung in space exactly where it should be. But something was wrong. The structure looked intact, but all power systems were offline. No ships were docked. No crew responded to communications. "Send a boarding party," ordered Sub-Leader Vex. The boarding team found something that made their worst nightmares seem pleasant. The station's crew was still alive, but their minds were completely broken. Velkari officers sat in corners, their crystal bodies flickering with chaotic patterns. Osaki personnel lay coiled in defensive positions, unable to respond to outside stimuli. Threnody workers floated in their containment suits, their gas forms swirling in random patterns. The few crew members who could still speak told impossible stories. They babbled about ships that appeared from nowhere and vanished like ghosts. They spoke of human voices over the communications, calm and polite, offering surrender terms before unleashing technological horrors beyond imagination. The ghosts spoke perfect galactic standard, whispered one traumatized Velkari technician. They knew our names. They knew our fears. They made our own thoughts into weapons against us. Subleader Vex dismissed this as the ravings of damaged minds. But deep in his crystal consciousness, doubt began to grow. The missing fleet represented the largest unexplained loss in Velkari history. Something had destroyed 200 ships without leaving a trace. The attacks escalated rapidly over the following weeks. Velkari supply convoys began disappearing along the outer trade routes. Ships would drop out of hyperspace as scheduled, but when other vessels went to rendezvous with them, they found nothing but empty space. The Osaki fared no better. Their listening posts along the former human border went dark one by one. Patrol fleets sent to investigate found the station stripped of all useful materials. The crews were left alive but psychologically shattered, babbling about invisible attackers who fought like demons. Captain Minho commanded the Ghost Fleet from the bridge of his new flagship, the UES Retribution. The vessel existed partly outside normal spacetime, its quantum drives allowing it to phase in and out of reality at will. Around him, his crew worked with neural interfaces that linked their minds directly to the ship's systems. 3 years of preparation had changed them all. They moved with inhuman precision, their thoughts synchronized through quantum communication networks. The old boundaries between human and machine had blurred until they became something new. Target acquired, reported Tactical Officer Hyunwoo. His consciousness flowed through the ship's weapon systems like water through channels. Velkari heavy cruiser, escorting a supply convoy in the Deneb sector. Begin the approach, ordered Minho. The Retribution phased through dimensions that the aliens couldn't detect. It emerged from hyperspace directly above the Velkari cruiser, completely unnoticed by enemy sensors. The quantum stealth systems made the human ship effectively invisible. Engineer Su Young coordinated the neural storm weapon from her station. The device reached into the enemy ship's communication systems and began broadcasting directly into the crew's consciousness. For Velkari, whose crystal-based minds were especially vulnerable, the effect was devastating. The enemy crew experienced their deepest fears made real. Their own thoughts turned against them, creating feedback loops of terror that paralyzed their ability to function. Within minutes, the entire ship was helpless. Broadcasting surrender terms, announced communications specialist Yoonji. Her voice carried over the alien ship's internal speakers, calm and professional. This is the Human Defense Force. Your vessel is disabled. Prepare for boarding. The Velkari crew could barely comprehend what they were hearing. Humans were extinct. Everyone knew this. The Galactic Council had confirmed their destruction. Yet here was a human voice speaking perfect Velkari, offering terms as if humanity commanded the situation. The boarding party arrived through quantum teleportation systems. Human soldiers appeared directly on the enemy bridge, their advanced armor making them look like technological demons. They moved with perfect coordination, disabling remaining resistance in seconds. Strip the ship of useful materials, Minho ordered. Leave the crew alive but ensure they remember this encounter. We want word to spread. The pattern repeated across dozens of star systems. Human ghost fleets struck without warning, overwhelming alien forces through superior technology and psychological warfare. Each attack was surgical and precise, designed to maximize fear while gathering intelligence. The aliens' confusion turned to panic as reports flooded in from across their territory. These weren't the desperate last strikes of a dying species. This was a coordinated campaign by forces that seemed to have grown stronger during their supposed extinction. Velkari High Command convened emergency sessions to address the crisis. Commander Nexus stood before the assembled leadership, his crystal body pulsing with frustrated patterns. The attacks follow no recognizable pattern, he reported. The enemy uses technology we cannot identify. Their ships appear and vanish without using known hyperspace routes. Most disturbing, they seem to know our psychology better than we know it ourselves. High Leader Keth, ancient even by Velkari standards, processed the information through millennia of experience. You believe these attackers are human? Impossible. We confirmed their extinction personally. Every human world was cleansed. Every human ship was destroyed. The species cannot exist, yet the evidence suggests otherwise. The debate raged through the crystal hierarchy. Some insisted that an unknown alien species was impersonating humans. Others proposed that human technology had been captured and reverse-engineered by hostile forces. A few dared suggest that humanity had somehow survived their supposed extinction. Meanwhile, communications specialist Yunji coordinated psychological warfare operations from her station aboard a mobile command ship. The vessel, disguised as a simple asteroid, drifted through alien space while broadcasting carefully crafted messages. "Target the Osaki command frequency," she ordered her team. "Remind them how easily we penetrated their defensive networks. Make them question every sensor reading." Human broadcasts began penetrating alien communication networks throughout the galaxy. The messages were designed to exploit every known psychological weakness. Valkyrie received transmissions that made their crystal consciousness resonate with chaotic frequencies. Osaki heard broadcasts that disrupted their hierarchical thinking patterns. Threnody found their collective consciousness invaded by foreign thoughts. The psychological campaign proved as effective as the physical attacks. Alien crews began jumping at shadows, questioning every sensor contact. The confident superiority they had felt during humanity's destruction gave way to paranoid uncertainty. Admiral Siak commanded the largest human strike force from her flagship deep in the Veil Nebula. The hidden fleet included over 300 ghost ships, each one equipped with technologies that pushed the boundaries of known physics. "Intelligence reports indicate the aliens are splitting their forces," she told her senior staff. "They're trying to guard everywhere at once. This makes them vulnerable to concentrated attack." "Recommendations?" asked her tactical officer. "We accelerate the campaign. Hit them harder and faster. Make them realize that hiding behind their superior numbers won't save them anymore." The next phase of attack shattered alien confidence completely. Human forces struck major shipyards, reducing Valkyrie construction facilities to twisted crystal fragments. They hit Osaki command centers, leaving enemy fleets without coordination. They invaded Threnody research stations, stealing centuries of accumulated knowledge. Each attack left behind the same calling card, a message in perfect galactic standard, transmitted on all frequencies. Humanity remembers. 3 simple words that sent shockwaves through alien leadership. The species they had tried to extinct was not only alive, but had become something terrifying. The humans who had once begged for mercy were now dispensing judgment with cold precision. President Seojin watched the reports from his command center in the hidden fortress of New Earth. The mobile station, built inside a hollowed-out moon, served as humanity's secret capital. Around him, displays showed the growing chaos in alien space. "The first phase is complete," reported General Teju. "Enemy morale is breaking. Their fleets are scattered and demoralized. They're starting to question everything they thought they knew about the galaxy." "Casualties on our side?" "Minimal. The ghost ships are performing beyond expectations. We've lost fewer than a dozen vessels while destroying hundreds of enemy craft." Seojin nodded with grim satisfaction. The aliens who had spoken so casually about human extinction were learning what it felt like to be hunted. But this was only the beginning. Humanity's true fury had yet to be unleashed. "Send word to all fleet commanders," he ordered. "Begin Phase 2. Show them what humans do when we stop holding back." The Valkyrie hegemony's final mistake began with desperation. High Leader Keth stood before the Emergency Council in the great crystal chamber of their homeworld. Around him, the most powerful aliens in the galaxy argued in panic as human attacks continued to devastate their forces. "We must end this threat permanently," Keth declared, his ancient crystal body pulsing with desperate light. "The humans have proven more resilient than expected. We will use the stellar converter on their birth world." Commander Nexus shifted uncomfortably. "High Leader, our intelligence suggests the human population was already evacuated from Earth. Destroying an empty world serves no strategic purpose." "It serves a psychological purpose," Keth replied coldly. "Even if no humans remain on Earth, it is still their symbol of origin. When we turn their sun into cosmic fire, any surviving humans will understand that resistance is hopeless. The massive stellar converter was the most terrifying weapon in the Velkari arsenal. The device could destabilize a star's core, causing it to collapse and explode with the force of a supernova. It had been used only twice in galactic history, both times to end rebellions by making examples of entire solar systems. Deep in his hidden command center, President Seojin received word of the alien plan from human intelligence operatives. The news hit him like a physical blow. Even though Earth had been evacuated, it remained humanity's birth world. The thought of their son dying filled him with cold rage. "They want to destroy our home," he said to his assembled commanders. "Even believing we're extinct, they still fear what Earth represents." Dr. Yuna entered the chamber carrying the activation codes for Project Lazarus. Her face showed the weight of what she was about to unleash. "Sir, this gives us the justification we need. When they attempt to destroy Earth, I can turn their stellar converter into our weapon." "Explain." "The converter requires massive quantum resonance to destabilize a star. I can hijack that resonance and use it to broadcast the Lazarus signal across the entire galaxy. Every piece of alien technology will become ours to control." General Teju leaned forward. "The risks? If we fail, Earth dies and we lose our greatest weapon. If we succeed, we gain control of every alien ship, station, and defense system in the galaxy." Seojin stared at the tactical displays showing alien fleets moving toward Earth. After 3 years of careful planning, everything would be decided in the next few hours. "Do it. Activate Project Lazarus." The Velkari fleet approached Earth's solar system with overwhelming force. 3,000 ships of various alien species formed the largest military formation in galactic history. Commander Nexus stood on the bridge of the flagship, watching the familiar blue-green world grow larger on his displays. "No human activity detected," reported his sensor operator. "The planet appears completely abandoned." Nexus felt a strange sadness as he looked at humanity's birth world. Despite everything, he had respected human tenacity. They had fought bravely against impossible odds. Now their home would become a funeral pyre for their extinct species. "Deploy the stellar converter," he ordered. The massive device unfolded from the fleet center like a metal flower of destruction. Energy fields powerful enough to crack planets began building toward the critical resonance needed to destabilize Earth's sun. In minutes, the star would collapse and explode, erasing the last trace of human civilization. But Dr. Yuna was ready. Hidden sensors throughout the solar system detected the converter's activation sequence. Quantum transmitters buried in asteroids and space debris began broadcasting infiltration codes directly into the alien device. The converter's own massive energy output provided the power needed to send the Lazarus signal across the galaxy. "Signal transmission beginning," Dr. Yuna reported from her control center. "All alien technology within range is now under our control." The effect was immediate and devastating. Across the Velkari fleet, ships began turning their weapons on each other as their own computers received new orders. The stellar converter itself reversed its field polarity, sending a quantum shockwave through hyperspace that carried the Lazarus virus to every corner of the galaxy. "Commander." Nexus watched in horror as his flagship's weapon systems activated without his command. Around him, the bridge crew screamed in panic as their own ship began firing on Allied vessels. "What is happening?" he demanded. His communications officer, a young Velkari named Zix, checked his instruments with trembling appendages. "Sir, our computer systems are receiving commands from an external source. All our technology is being controlled remotely. By whom?" The answer came over the ship's speakers in perfect Velkari. The voice was calm, professional, and unmistakably human. "This is President Seojin of the Human Federation. Your fleet is now under our control. Surrender immediately or be destroyed by your own weapons." The impossible had happened. The extinct humans had somehow taken control of the galaxy's most powerful fleet. Around Earth's solar system, 3,000 alien ships hung motionless as their human controllers decided their fate. But the Lazarus signal's reach extended far beyond Earth. Across the galaxy, every piece of alien technology received the same quantum virus. On Velkari Prime, the planetary defense grid turned its weapons on government buildings. Osaki battle stations began targeting their own fleets. Threnody research facilities released their experimental weapons against their creators. Captain Minho emerged from hyperspace at the head of humanity's main battle fleet. But these weren't the few hundred ghost ships the aliens expected. The hidden shipyards had been working at full capacity for 3 years, producing vessels that seemed to materialize from the void itself. Thousands of human warships phased into normal space around Earth. Each one carried technologies that pushed the boundaries of physics beyond alien understanding. But more importantly, each ship carried human crews who had spent 3 years preparing for this moment, broadcasting on all frequencies. Announced communications. Specialist Yunji from her station aboard the flagship New Terra. This is the Human Defense Force. We have returned. The message reached every alien world simultaneously. On planets that had celebrated humanity's extinction, the news hit like a thunderbolt. The species they had tried to destroy had not only survived but had become something beyond their worst nightmares. Engineer Soo-hyung coordinated the systematic shutdown of alien military capabilities from her mobile command station. Valkyrie weapons are offline. Osaki fleets are disabled. Threnody battle platforms are under our control. The galaxy's military forces belong to us now. The scope of humanity's victory was beyond anything the aliens could comprehend. In less than an hour, they had lost control of every weapon, every ship, every defense system they possessed. Their own technology had betrayed them, turned into instruments of their defeat by the species they had underestimated. On Valkyrie Prime, High Leader Keth experienced something his species had never known: complete helplessness. His own palace defenses had turned against him. His fleets were controlled by human commanders. His empire had collapsed in minutes. How is this possible? He asked his advisors, but no one had answers. The humans had achieved something that violated every principle of galactic warfare. The Threnody Collective attempted to negotiate surrender, but their communication systems had been compromised. When they tried to send envoys, they found their own ships broadcasting human messages instead of their diplomatic proposals. The Osaki Empire fared no better. Their hierarchical command structure crumbled when their communication networks began carrying orders from human commanders. Centuries of military tradition meant nothing when their own ships refused to obey their orders. Tactical Officer Hyunwoo studied the displays showing the complete collapse of alien resistance. Sir, we have reports of surrender attempts from all major species. Their governments are requesting terms. President Seojin sat in his command chair aboard New Earth, watching the galaxy that had tried to destroy his people. Every alien world was now defenseless. Every alien fleet was under human control. The beings who had spoken so casually about human extinction now faced the same threat themselves. His image appeared on screens across the galaxy. The aliens who had once dismissed humans as inferior pests now saw their conqueror, calm, controlled, and absolutely certain of his power. You sought to extinct humanity, Seojin said quietly. You failed. You underestimated our capacity for survival, adaptation, and growth. Now you face a choice your ancestors once offered us. The galaxy held its breath as the human leader continued. Submit to human authority and accept integration into our new order, or be removed from the galaxy permanently. You have one standard day to decide. But unlike the ultimatum the aliens had given humanity, this offer came with a crucial difference. Those who surrendered would be treated with mercy, not as slaves but as junior partners in a new galactic civilization. The humans offered what the aliens never had: genuine hope for survival and redemption. The age of alien dominance was over. The age of humanity had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. 5 years had passed since humanity's return from the darkness. The galaxy that had once tried to destroy them now thrived under human leadership. But this was not the oppressive empire the aliens had once created. Instead, it was something unprecedented in galactic history, a civilization built on cooperation rather than conquest. President Seojin stood on the observation deck of New Earth Station, watching ships from a dozen different species dock at the massive orbital facility. Valkyrie crystal vessels worked alongside human transports. Osaki cargo haulers shared space with Threnody research ships. The sight would have been impossible just years before. The integration proceeds better than expected, reported General Taeju, joining him at the viewport. 70% of alien species have chosen full partnership. Most others have accepted protected status on reservation worlds. Seojin nodded with satisfaction. The choice had been real. Unlike the ultimatum the aliens had given humanity, his offer came with genuine alternatives. Species that surrendered found themselves offered true partnership, their unique abilities valued rather than suppressed. The Velkari hegemony survivors had shocked the galaxy by choosing integration over isolation. High Leader Keth, his ancient crystal body now serving aboard a mixed-species council, had become one of humanity's most valuable allies. "We were wrong about your species," Keth told Seogen during their weekly meeting. "We saw your rapid growth as a threat. We failed to understand that your strength comes from bringing others along with you, rather than holding them down." Captain Minho commanded the new fleet from his flagship, the UES Unity. But this vessel was different from the warships that had fought in the shadows. His crew included former enemies working as equals alongside humans. Velkari engineers operated quantum drives. Osaki tacticians planned defensive strategies. Threnody scientists conducted research that benefited all species. "Status report from the outer sectors," requested Minho during the morning briefing. His second-in-command, formerly Commander Nexus of the Velkari fleet, provided the update. The alien officer had requested reassignment to human service after witnessing how former enemies were treated with respect, rather than contempt. All border regions remain peaceful. The integration colonies are exceeding production targets. No species has requested transfer to the reservation worlds in the past 6 months. The transformation hadn't been easy. Many aliens struggled to adapt to human leadership styles that valued individual initiative over rigid hierarchy. But those who made the effort found opportunities they had never imagined under the old system. Dr. Yuna's research institutes had become centers of interspecies learning. Her laboratories on Science Station Alpha housed the galaxy's greatest minds working together on projects that would have been impossible under the old regime of species separation. The Neural Interface Project shows promising results, she reported to the monthly Science Council. By combining Velkari crystal consciousness with human quantum processing and Threnody collective intelligence, we're creating communication systems that eliminate misunderstandings between species. Her assistant, Dr. Jinho, added his findings. The psychological healing programs are equally successful. Former trauma from the warriors is decreasing across all species. Cooperation is becoming natural rather than forced. But Dr. Yuna's greatest achievement was the dismantling of the weapons that had won the war. The neural storm devices were decommissioned, their research repurposed for healing minds damaged by conflict. Project Lazarus was locked away, its power too dangerous for any species to wield permanently. Engineer Su Yung led the massive reconstruction efforts that were transforming devastated worlds into showcases of mixed-species cooperation. Her latest project, the Floating Cities of New Harmony, demonstrated what could be accomplished when different species combined their unique abilities. The Velkari provide crystal architecture that grows organically, she explained to visiting dignitaries. The Osaki contribute biological systems that maintain themselves. The Threnody offer energy networks that respond to collective needs. Humans coordinate everything and ensure no species dominates the others. The floating cities orbited between star systems, mobile homes for the new galactic civilization. Each one housed millions of beings from multiple species, all working together toward common goals. Communications specialist Yunji had perhaps the most important role in the new order. Her cultural exchange programs connected species that had been enemies for centuries. She established networks that shared stories, art, music, and ideas across the galaxy. "We're broadcasting the story of the Velkari crystal singers to human colonies," she reported during her weekly briefing. In return, human poetry is being translated into Threnody collective consciousness patterns. For the first time, species are learning to understand each other instead of merely tolerating differences. Her programs had an unexpected result. Interspecies relationships began forming naturally. Mixed crews became mixed families. Children grew up speaking multiple languages and understanding multiple ways of thinking. The old barriers between species didn't just fade, they became meaningless. The economic transformation proved as dramatic as the political changes. Under the old system, powerful species had hoarded resources while weaker ones struggled. The human approach created trade networks that benefited everyone. Finance Minister Wanho, now overseeing galactic economic policy, reviewed the quarterly reports with amazement. Production is up 400% across all sectors. When species cooperate instead of compete, everyone prospers. The reservation worlds offered another path for species uncomfortable with integration. These planets provided complete autonomy for aliens who preferred traditional ways of life. But surprisingly, most chose to participate in the larger galactic community. The former Osaki Empire had become a confederation of worlds that maintained their hierarchical culture while contributing to galactic defense. The Threnody Collective preserved their group consciousness while sharing their scientific knowledge. Even species that had fought hardest against humanity found places in the new order. Admiral Siak commanded the Galactic Defense Force from her headquarters on Shield Station. The military had transformed from an instrument of oppression into a genuine peacekeeping force. Mixed species crews patrolled the galaxy, protecting trade routes and mediating disputes between worlds. Crime rates have dropped to historic lows, she reported to the Galactic Council. When species work together instead of against each other, conflict becomes rare. Most of our work now involves disaster relief and exploration rather than warfare. The exploration programs revealed the new galaxy's greatest treasure: unity of purpose. Joint expeditions to unknown sectors included representatives from every species. They mapped new worlds together, discovered new life forms together, and shared the wonders they found. President Seojin reflected on the changes as he toured the memorial stations scattered throughout the galaxy. These facilities commemorated not just human suffering, but the pain of all species caught in the cycle of galactic warfare. We were all victims of a system that saw difference as threat, he told the crowd gathered for the memorial service. Humans, Velkari, Osaki, Threnody, everyone suffered under the old way of thinking. Our victory wasn't over any species. It was over the idea that survival requires the destruction of others. The memorial's central message had become the founding principle of the new civilization. We were cornered and alone. We rose as the galaxy's reckoning. Now we rise together, as one people among the stars. Children from multiple species played together in the memorial gardens, their laughter echoing off monuments to ancient conflicts. They spoke each other's languages naturally, understood each other's customs instinctively, and saw cooperation as normal rather than remarkable. Dr. Yuna watched them with deep satisfaction. This generation won't understand why their grandparents fought wars over differences that now seem trivial. The transformation wasn't complete. Some species remained suspicious of human leadership. A few groups still chose isolation over integration, but the momentum toward unity grew stronger each year. The new galaxy was young, but it was built on foundations that would last forever: respect, cooperation, and the revolutionary idea that diversity was not a weakness to be eliminated, but a strength to be celebrated. Humanity had risen from near extinction to become the galaxy's teachers, showing every species that survival didn't require the destruction of others. It required their elevation. The stars belong to everyone now.